We did some amazing testing on this boss, Urzilis. This is a chief challenge that we're fighting right now. We're going to have to fight this again for 30 days in the Otherworld exploration at the end of the season. So we need to find good teams, free-to-play teams, to be able to fight this guy and get 22 million. And we were able to do this on the test server. And then I went over to my live account and I tried to duplicate what we did, and we got some pretty interesting results. We also did this boss without Witch's Remains. No legendary artifact, and we got around 19 million. But my Psyche core is not leveled out on the test server. I purposely did this. We don't have the additional 10% damage that some people might have, and we don't have all the additional damage that you would have filling this out, completing it out. And by the end of the season, yes, we'll have this all completed out, but you might have the 10% additional with the 5 right here, which is going to add to your damage. So with the testing we did with this kind of gear, this team, no Witches Remains, just the crown, we're going to be able to get 22 million. I went over to my main account, and we did so well with this, and I was so happy with it because we're using 2 rares, 2 free heroes that we get, and then 1 epic. You've got to have this 1 epic. So I went over to my main account and tried to copy what we were doing, and sadly, I didn't get the same results. So what I want to do is look at why. I want to see what kind of gear I have on here, because when I pick gear for these heroes, I don't try to get the top best gear. I don't try to get 3 rolls into critical damage. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to do kind of gear that we might all have. This is 1 run, and then I replaced this guy here, this epic, with Erich, which we all get Erich, and we still made 23 million. So you see the team. We've got Netta, we have Adolphus, Horus, Adri, which is a rare, and then any kind of wild base hero here that will do well. Doesn't matter who it is. If you have Felicity, yeah, throw Felicity in there. Netta does insane damage on this boss though, so definitely bring Netta in. Here's the main account and the test account. We're going to see where it falls apart, and then we're going to look at the gear, a side-by-side comparison at the end of this run. We've got Adolphus along with Netta, Adri, Horus, and then Erich. Let's see how much damage they do. We'll have the damage meters pop up in just a minute. You can kind of see right now they're at 200,000, 200,000. It looks okay. Maybe my tank gear isn't as well. All I can tell you is that I got nowhere near the 23 million that I got on the test server. And I was so happy with this team because it's so easy to be able to do this team that I leveled up all these heroes on my main account. And I'm not sad that I leveled these heroes. This means with good gear, this is the easiest team still for this boss to get over 22 million, regardless, because we're using this same gear to test out a lot of other comps that I've tried on this boss. And this has by far been the best comp for me as far as a free-to-play comp goes. There's a lot of comps to be able to do 22 million. And if you're curious about those, join us on Discord. Discord's down below. Come over there. We've got a channel with each of the bosses' names, and everybody's putting screenshots of the starting formation as well as the gear and then the ending damage so you can see who's doing the most damage, and you'll be able to make those teams. We do not get anywhere near 23 million. I think I get 17 or 18 million. But my Psyche core is not into 10% additional fire damage. It's not into the end fire damage. So I know with the team and even with the gear I have on right now, once I get that 10% additional fire damage, once I get a little bit better gear, I've still got some epic pieces on my runes. And then once I get even more fire damage, I will do 22 million. But I'm not doing it right now. I'm not able to do that until I get better gear. Let's jump forward a little bit. We'll get to see kind of where it falls apart. The biggest thing to look at is the boss's increase in damage. He's at 5 stacks on both. And I think we actually make it to the same amount of stacks. We just die and we just don't have the damage. We got 6 stacks there. It's a DPS race. Adri in here is beautiful because we're knocking back the ultimate gauge and we're slowing the boss. Anytime we can slow the boss, all these chief challenges, you're going to get more damage. Slow them, knock back that ultimate, and Adri is amazing to have the crown or Witch's Remains on because we have 3 hits to try to apply that decreased defense. Since we're slowing him down, we're trying to get in as much damage as possible. 7 stacks on both. I mean, I think Horus does an amazing job. He really does. It's not Horus's fault. It's damage fault because there, 8 stacks, Horus dies. 8 stacks over here, he's still alive, and we're at 15 million. The test account at 20 million. Killing it. So that's it. 15 million for them. The test account's over here doing 21 million now. It's about to hit 23 million. and we just couldn't keep up. We just couldn't keep up with doing the damage we need. So our team needs better gear, and I want to do a side-by-side of what we have. Here's Erich right now. There's the test, there's the main. We've got Erich at 4,500 attack with 181 critical damage. I've got 98 critical damage, and you would think that's because he has critical damage gloves on. He does not have critical damage gloves on. He's got a critical damage rune, and I'll show you the gear on him because I'm on the test server behind this, but he doesn't have critical damage. He's got crit rate gloves on. So I don't know where he's getting all this critical damage. Maybe substats, something, but right there you can see that that's a huge, over that long fight, this is huge. Not only does Erich have more attack, he's got way more critical damage. Adolphus has very comparable enlightenment. I tried to go to like 1 or 2 hits into enlightenment for substats, so he looks fine. Netta's pulling in on the test server 171 critical damage, 168 critical damage over here, kind of comparable attack, so Netta's fine. Like Netta should have been doing a lot of damage. I just don't know why we are so far behind. Like really far behind. And I did that run a lot on my main account compared to the test server, but I think this Netta looks good. We're not at 100% crit rate on my main. We're a little bit lower in critical damage, not too bad. And then our attack isn't too bad. It's, 150 lower or so. So we've got a little work to do. Adri basically just needs to get up our debuffs. I do see that on the test server, Adri is doing a little bit more damage because she's got more crit rate and more critical damage, but we just need accuracy. They both have really good accuracy. She's got to apply that decreased defense. We've got to micromanage it so she hits the boss with the ultimate right after the boss does the skill, or at least actually a little time after the boss does the skill, because you want to be able to knock it back. You've got to wait till it gets a little bit of turn meter so you can knock that turn meter back. We've always got to get that slow speed up, so if you do a few runs and you get bad luck and you're not applying that slow speed, rerun it. And we need that decreased defense up so we can get as much damage in as possible. So for her, I was micromanaging her and I was micromanaging Horus to do his ultimate right before the boss does his ultimate. The test server Horus isn't even as strong as mine, at least for defense. We've got more defense on my main account. We just have a little less HP. So maybe we need that extra HP so our shields will be up when Adolphus gives us those other shields. Anytime he applies shields on the shield with Adolphus, he does that big old heal. So we want a shield. Maybe I need a little bit more HP, but I definitely need some more defense. And I'm really hoping there's not something weird going on with the test server compared to the live server. That would really not be good. But eventually I'm going to get to the same stats that I have on the test server as far as my DPS goes. You could tell Erich was doing a lot more. He has way more critical damage than we have. And we can go over and look at the gear right now. Let's see what we have here for the test server gear-wise. We know Erich had way better gear. But again, you can see he's got crit rate, attack percentage, critical damage here, and then attack here. But he must have a lot of critical damage hits. He's got 2 hits here, 2 hits there, no critical damage there with the crit rate, and then he's got 2 hits here. So he does have quite a bit. I mean, this gear is a little bit too much to use. 2 hits into crit rate, 2 hits into critical damage. Probably a lot of people won't have that for a little while. This one here, no hit into crit, 2 into critical damage. That one's fine to use. And this one, 1 hit into crit rate, critical damage. And then down here, we've got crit rate along with critical damage. So we just need to get better gear on our Erich. And this is really good for him because he does his most damage here from his AoE. The AoE hits everybody. With this, it just hits 5 random enemies. Or 5, it could be, 4 hits on one of the little extra adds he has and then 1 on the boss. That's why I don't like using Erich with Witch's Remains or the Crown to try to apply decreased defense because it can hit the little minions that come out. But this makes it even stronger, makes him hit harder. I really like that on him. Netta, we've got the eyeball. All of this, again, is on my Discord if you want to come check it out. We get the additional 15% attack whenever she applies the debuff. She's applying a lot of debuffs with her battle skill and then with her ultimate. And then here, again, we just have the same. We didn't have this on. We did have the Crown on. We tested this to see if it would work. And it will work, but it does do better with the Crown. Instead of getting back to his ultimate, like a 1.5 seconds faster, could be 2 seconds if you have him at a 20-second cooldown. You can try it out. You can use either one just to try to do his ultimate quicker or have him with more enlightenment to get his shields bigger and his heals bigger. So I was really happy about this, and then I went to my main account and a little bit sad then because I didn't get the same damage, but I understand. I can see where it's coming from. I need to pick up some damage, and I definitely need to take my elemental advantage in this Psyche core here. I need to take it out further, and I will eventually. I'm not going to rush and do that now, but I will. In the test server, I'm going to keep it like this. My main account, I've got it into Frost and Radiant, and then I've got Frost and Radiant again, and then I've got another one in here for Frost and Radiant. So slowly, I'll be getting that additional damage, and we'll all be able to get that 22 million. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate your love and support. I will see you all in a video soon.